Okay, let's start. So a very warm welcome to everyone and the session on analyzing the client value of hospital cash products. I'd like to just start with a couple of housekeeping items. So today's ICII session is scheduled to be 90 minutes, including the Q&A. So as with the other sessions, please keep your questions until the end, and there will be time for us to have a discussion and a Q&A. To ensure the highest quality of experience, please, all the participants, to keep your microphones muted, and also the speakers when you're not speaking. The questions can be submitted via the Q&A feature. So if you want to send us questions, please use this Q&A feature rather than the chat. And just to let you know, this session will be recorded and is going to be made available online. So if you have, just lastly, if you have any technical issues, please put a message in the chat to the MIN executive team. Great, thank you. Next slide. Okay, we're just changing over the slide deck. It's on its way. Excellent. Okay. I'm not seeing the slide deck on my side yet. Okay, excellent. I see it now. All right. Okay, we can go to the second slide with the pictures. All right. So today we have a fantastic lineup of speakers from all over the globe. You'll be hearing from me, Erik, Jarrin, Anne-Sophie, Triboulet, and Neto, Ikpeme. I will introduce each speaker in turn as we move through the session. So I'll leave the introductions for now until then. So if you can go to the next slide. Great. So this presentation is based on the initial findings from a study that we are all doing in collaboration with the Microinsurance Network and the ILO's Impact Insurance Facility where I work. So to start, I'd like to tell you about the origins of this research. Earlier this year, the Microinsurance Network established a best practice group, or BPG, on health and financial inclusion. And the purpose of the BCGs is to identify and share good practices in specific fields of inclusive insurance. The members of the BPGs are also members of the Microinsurance Network, and all of us are volunteers. So I will introduce the members of the health team on the next slide. As you know, go back a slide. As you know, the focus of our study is client value, a client value analysis of hospital cash products. But it is also important to think about hospital cash in the context of the wider health system. So hospital cash is a product that can be integrated with a range of other tools used to manage health financing risks. And depending on the size and frequency of that risk, certain financial tools may be more appropriate than others. And we must not forget that most countries also aim to have some kind of social health protection programs or UHC programs in place. So the idea is not to compete, but rather complement these plans as part of an overall puzzle that pieces together the options for covering health and related financial risks. For more on this, you can follow a link to the paper that I've put on the right-hand side if you want to know more about the topic. So next slide, please. Okay, so back to our project. You may ask why we decided to focus on hospital cash plans. So the motivation for this is that of all the health inclusive insurance products out there, hospital cash is the product that is most likely to survive without government subsidy. In addition, most of the products reported as health in the literature are actually hospital cash plans when you look at them. So while there is clearly a market for this product and it has proven viable, there are always things that could be improved. And we don't believe that this product has reached its full potential yet. You may also ask, why are we looking at client value? Well, this is one of the keys to achieving scale. And the more valued a product is by clients, the more clients will buy the product. And in turn, this should help grow the market. So this is why we've decided to focus on client value and hospital cash insurance. So in order to study client value, we are using the ILO's PACE tool. And I'll tell you more about this on the next slide, but don't change the slide yet. The way that we have arranged the study is that the best practice group as a whole has been split into 3 work streams. So our plan is to divide and conquer. So we have 3 different groups, those focused on Latin America, Africa, and Asia. And our goal to start with was to identify at least 2 hospital cash products in each region and analyze them using PACE. On this slide, you will also see that I've listed the members of the BPG, so you can see who we are. Okay, next slide. So PACE is an acronym that stands for Product, Access, Cost, and Experience. And the tool uses a set methodology to rate different products along these 4 dimensions so that products can be easily compared. It allows the users of PACE to identify, consolidate, and then prioritize potential changes, given that in some cases, it's a bit of a trade-off between 1 or 2 of the dimensions in PACE. So by the end of the study, what we aim to have is at least 6 products all mapped onto a chart similar to the one on the right-hand side. Next slide, please. So this project is still a work in progress, and this slide gives a rough indication of where we are in the project. The intention today is share our initial findings, and the final results will be published by the Microinsurance Network, so please watch this space. Next slide. Okay, so now that you know a little bit about who we are and about the project, we would also like to know a little bit about you, given that you know, we're doing this virtually and we can't actually see you. So I'd like to ask 2 questions. So if you could launch the first poll, we would like to know which sector or which group you represent. So if you could tell us if you come from a government or regulator, if you work in the insurance industry, if you're just a consumer that's interested in this particular topic, financial institution or a distribution partner or other, it would be great if you could please, we'll give you a few moments to fill out this poll, and then we will take a look at who else is in the audience today. Okay, so let's close the poll and see who we have. All right, so 45% of you are in the insurance and reinsurance industry, and the next group is other, so a big mix. And then we have a few people from the government, regulator, 1% consumers, and 6% financial institution. Okay, great. Thank you very much. You can close this poll and move on to the next slide. So question 2, we really want to know, like, if we have quite a few of you working in the insurance industry, how many of you are actually interested in either developing hospital cash or already have a hospital cash product? So if we can launch this poll. So I'll read the question again. If you are an insurer, a reinsurer, or financial institution, do you currently offer a hospital cash product? Or are you looking to do so in the near future? Yes or no? So hopefully this won't take long for you to tick the answer. Okay, I'm just going to give 10 more seconds to answer that question. Okay, let's close the poll and see what the answers are. Wow, okay, so we have a very interested audience. 76% of you either have hospital cash or are interested in doing so, which doesn't surprise me too much given the pandemic. I think that there is a lot of scope for this particular product. Okay, you can close the poll and go on to the next slide. Great, so now it is my great pleasure to introduce Erik, who will be presenting on behalf of the Latin American workstream. So let me tell you a bit about Erik. Erik is a professional with more than 25 years of experience in the insurance and reinsurance industry. He is a senior executive and member of the board of Risk Management, a leading French consultancy firm providing services across the insurance value chain. At the same time, he is the Latin American head of the life practice for Barents Re, a niche reinsurer that supports the development of inclusive and microinsurance programs. Erik is also co-founder of www.tinajali.com, an insurtech venture created to support the emerging population in Latin America. So given all of that he's doing, we're very lucky to have him here today, giving us his time. So Erik, I'm going to hand it over to you for your slides.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Really happy to be here with you and to share the findings of the work we've done in our site for the hospital cash product. We are studying 3 products, every one of them in different territories. One of them is for a company in Paraguay. There's another one in Bolivia and one in Peru. Each one of them has its own interest aspects, the ones that I'm going to share with you. So starting with Paraguay, this hospital cash is very interesting. Originally, the focus was to offer the consumer a cancer indemnity product, a first diagnosis of cancer indemnity product, and the hospital cash. But suddenly, COVID showed up, and the focus of the company was moved immediately to offer the hospital cash product because they thought that was going to be a much larger need coming from the customers rather than the cancer one. So this product, first let me tell you, this product is offered online. There's a website where the population can go and buy it, and the people working on it needed to change the focus of the website and make it more appealing and easier for the customer to buy the hospital cash product. It's a product that offers up to 60 days of coverage. I mean, a person can be hospitalized for up to 60 days in one single period or 60 days along 1 year. COVID, there's coverage for COVID-19. There's a waiting period for COVID. And as I just mentioned, they changed the focus to offer COVID. Pandemics were originally excluded from the coverage, but when all this started, they worked around their product and decided to offer coverage for COVID. There's a 14-day waiting period. On other illnesses, the waiting period stays at 90 days, which is the original waiting period for any type of illness. Dengue and COVID has 14, and there's no waiting period for accident hospitalization. The product, as I said, is sold online. It's an individual product, so you can buy a product today. They offered only one customer at a time, but every time that a person buys the product, a certificate of insurance is issued and sent digitally to the customer. An interesting fact of the product is a death benefit that it offers. So if unfortunately the person dies while being hospitalized, the policy pays the maximum benefit as a death benefit. What I mean is, let's say they bought a 10-day period and the daily indemnity, the benefit for every night was $20. So they would pay a $200 death benefit on the policy. and this product has a 1-day deductible. In terms of the access, that meaning how broadly is it available, how easy is for the customer to buy, it's online, so anyone in the country has access to it. You may ask, how do the company promote the product? Because it's very difficult to reach everyone in the country, or make the people know that the product is available. So they set up a TV campaign. So they have TV ads on open television. It's not cable TV, so anyone can look at the product. And what they are seeing is that every time that people watch the ad on TV, immediately they jump into their mobile phones. Mobile phone penetration is very high in Paraguay. Internet penetration is very high. So people have data available to go and look at the product online to buy it. It's set it up in a way that if an agent is interested to promote the product, they can go and talk to the insurance company, and they could have access to sell it individually and promote the product. And of course, they would get their fair share of the product. But commissions, that the prices are so small in the entry levels that probably it's not of the interest of an agent to promote a product. So for this little premium that I'll tell you about it. The customer can pay in full for a full year or in installments. Today, the product in Paraguay is only available on a 12-month period, but the customer has the ability to pay on monthly installments. So by doing that, they are balancing the need to receive the full payment upfront, but the customer can actually pay in monthly installments, financing it online. The benefit the product offer is related to the average income, or to the basic monthly income in Paraguay, which is around $300, $350. And if we take the basic product, which is, I think it's $13 per night times 30, it comes at around $400 a month, which has a correlation to the basic monthly income. The customer has the ability to buy higher limits, and the customer can also select the period, which is 10 days, 30 days, or 60 days of coverage. So depending on the amount they buy and the period of time they buy for the benefit, the price changes. But the basic, the low level of the product goes for $1.25 per month. And if there's a need to file a claim, it can be done online. They can contact the operator of the product via WhatsApp. They can find them on Facebook. So it's a fully digital product. The downside is there are no agents that can offer it. The only way that you can access it today is online. You're going to the office of the insurance company. They have only one office in the country. So unless you do it online, you wouldn't have access to it. And one interesting fact about this product is that only the management team of the insurance company can reject a claim. So by doing that, they make sure that the claim is being handled properly, that if they need to make a special decision, it's the management who's making it. But so far, they haven't had the need to access management to look at claims. So we understand it's moving very smoothly. Next slide, please. So we're gonna do a poll to learn more about what the audience particularly has as insurance coverage, because sometimes they may surprise us. So if we can run the poll, thank you. Okay, gonna give it some seconds. Hospital cash is a very interesting product, and in recent conversations that I had with people in Europe especially, I found out that it's a product that it's not often available or in the insurance portfolio of consumers. And this is something that we are seeing more and more in Latin America, and I understand that in Africa and Asia as well. So it's very interesting to learn that we are developing or pushing the product in our regions, and it's not openly available, or you need to do some research in Europe to buy it, depending on the need or what need you're trying to solve with it. Okay, can we see the results of the poll, please? Life would be as expected. Health insurance, second place. Hospital cash, personal accident, very interesting to see. Owners, car, we usually protect our assets. SME is an area that is interesting to see that there's not a lot of take up other insurance. Cancer indemnity is in the low usage from our audience. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for participating. This can give us a picture of where the opportunities are, or what decisions we tend to make, or how is people using the hospital cash product. Going back to the product in Paraguay, one interesting thing about the product they developed is the fact that it's available online, but they are also using the product to offer it to microfinance and finance institutions, and they are using the benefit for every night to pay one installment of a loan. So the agreement is that the first 3 nights of any hospitalization is going to go towards the payment of 3 months of installments of the loans that the customers of this financial institution have, which is an interesting way of using it. And if they exceed the three nights in the hospital, the rest of the benefit goes to the insured and to the family. Next slide, please. Okay, hospital cash in Peru. Hospital cash is a product that is present in the market in Peru. Several companies are offering it. Different companies have different approaches. In Peru, the benefit of the one we're starting goes up to 60 days. COVID-19 is included, and the way they included it was deleting the pandemic exclusion. Actually, the regulator in Peru, it's my understanding, is pushing the carriers to delete the pandemic exclusion. So it's going to be something that we're going to see in most of the policies in that country. The waiting period varies depending on illness. It's 90 days. There's no waiting period for accident, and we have 14 days waiting period for COVID. The product is sold individually through sponsors. It's not sold online. It's sold through sponsors. The agents have to go and look for sponsors, or the insurance companies working with sponsors to offer it to the public and the customers of the sponsor working with the product. One interesting fact about this product is that they already managed to cover things that we don't know that are going to happen, but they managed to offer a reduced limit, but they are offering coverage for future pandemics. So we know the existing ones, the ones declared by the World Health Organization, and any future pandemic will be covered up to a certain limit. This product has a 3-day deductible, and what they want to do with the 3-day deductible is to take away attritional losses. They don't want to be dealing with short stays in the hospital. They just want to offer the customer protection for any more complicated situation, which may turn into paying larger limits, because again, this is a daily benefit. So rather than paying 2 or 3 nights, they are going to be paying 4, 5, 7 nights. And if a person stays longer in a hospital, it's probably because they have a more complex situation, so they are going to be paying larger claims. This product has the ability to offer enrollment for family members, whereas the one in Paraguay was include family members. It's a voluntary scheme, and you can make monthly payments. The benefit is as well related to the monthly income of the population. The lowest limit offered is $14 per night for a 15-night benefit, and the price goes at $7.50 per year, which is fairly low. If we make the relationship to the total benefit payable in 15 nights times $14, it's the rate may seem high, but it's a good benefit if we think of $7.50 per year. In terms of experience, as I said, because this product has a 3-day deductible, we're only going to be seeing more serious hospitalization conditions, which in turn is going to be larger amounts for the claims, which can affect the loss ratio of the product. One add-on that this product has is ICII benefit, which is a flat amount. If the person goes to the intensive care unit, and the moment the person is released from the intensive care unit, they are entitled to receive an additional amount of money, which is a flat benefit for this specific product. Next slide, please. Bolivia. I didn't notice that would change the slide. Okay, the Bolivia product. This product is sold only for as a group policy with a minimum of 10 members for each policy. The benefit goes up to 15 days. It's not available to be sold in longer periods than 15 days. COVID-19 is included. The waiting period varies, and again, as in the previous product, it varies if it's any illness, COVID, which in the case of Bolivia, I think it's 21 days, and no waiting period for accident. This product is sold as a bundled product with a life benefit, which makes it different from the other products. This product is $1 per night, which is more than 2 times the limit of the other products. Something very interesting, considering that the monthly wage in Bolivia is not much higher than the ones in Peru or Paraguay, but the entry level of benefit is 2 times. And added to the $1,000 benefit, the annual premium is $20. This product is intended to be sold mainly to small companies, or the insurance company can also use it to sell to larger groups, banks, financial institution employees, but it can also be sold to small SMEs or small associations, trade unions, co-ops, etc. It's offered through agents, which makes it limited when it comes to distribution, because it's the agent who's going to be the one that is going to be offering it. You can pay it in installment plans, and because the company has limited branches, it's not as broadly available as the product in Paraguay because of the setup of the marketing and distribution. As in the other products, you only need to provide the certificate from the from the hospital that you stay there X number of nights, subject to the condition that brought you to the hospital is not excluded. The three products have standard exclusions for the product. I can say none of them offers maternity hospitalization, which is different from other countries. There can be a delay in paying the claims in this one when there's a life benefit to be paid in addition to the hospital cash, because then the person needs to provide the certificate and some other documentation along to the hospital cash one. So that is making the claims payment process become longer than what we saw on the products in Paraguay and Peru. Next slide, please. So what are the added value services that are being offered, and what's happening with with customers in these countries? People were going to the doctor's offices, they were taking care of their health issues, but once COVID started, people stopped immediately. They stopped going to the doctor's office. So immediately the telemedicine service started to jump up in its usage, and that's the case of the product in Paraguay. They have a primary care orientation service. It's not a full telemedicine service, but they offer a primary care phone orientation. It can be used with video or just a phone call. Other issues, other services like nutritional orientation, psychological orientation are being offered along with the product in Paraguay. The products in Peru and Bolivia don't have added value to the coverage besides the life benefit that the product in Bolivia is offering. They don't have telemedicine. They don't have any additional services today. But looking at what happened in the last 9 months, they are already discussing the implementation of these additional services. We know, as per our conversations with the different companies, that customers are looking for free services as part of the whole product, like doctor office visits, annual checkups, coverage for extended family when it comes to not necessarily the indemnity benefit part of the hospital cash, but probably telemedicine, the checkups, and they are also asking for the possibility of including medicine for basic health conditions like a flu or something like that, rather than having that money come out of their pockets. During this process, we've learned that customers are not always brought into the conversation, analysis, or development of the product. It seems from what we've seen that sometimes it's more a marketing conversation from one provider or the requester, rather than an actual plan to develop the product from the origin, doing a market research, doing focus groups, and all what the PACE process takes us through, and seeing if the customers. We know that in the Paraguayan product, there's been a lot of market research. There were focus groups. They included customers along the process, but previously to setting up the product. When they had the definition of the product, there was no presentation of the product to see what the customer is actually thinking on how the product is looking. And the other two products were just internal initiatives of the companies. And coordination with producers or insurance agents, and not necessarily having customers involved as part of the product. They saw an opportunity when there was nothing similar in the market, and they said, okay, we have the opportunity to offer hospital cash. Nobody else is doing it. Let's do it. So that's what we are seeing as part of these developments. One thing which is interesting, and we're seeing more and more customers nowadays, and the millennials and the following generations, they are looking for immediate satisfaction. They want tangible products. They want to have something they can actually use and touch or access immediately. The ideas of including telemedicine or offering other products or added value services to the hospital cash initiatives in these countries. Social media and mobile devices are the preferred research method of the customers nowadays. Data is highly available in these three countries. The penetration of smart devices is highly available. Customers have the ability to pay by mobile money. There are certain countries where you can go in cash in non-financial banking branches, so people can pay in cash, but the companies need to adapt their collection methods to have this as part of the collection method to be able to sell the products, and probably adapt their collections to have this available for the customers, which can open and broaden their reach, because they are losing customers not having the ability to offer this collection method. Next slide, please. Okay, next. How do we buy insurance? Do we do it online? Do we call our insurance agent? Or do we rely on what we are offered on our credit cards? How do we buy insurance? I think it's an interesting question, because we are seeing more and more digitalization of the process. COVID transformed the world, and we are doing more online transactions. How are we doing it, or how did we did it in the past, and how are we doing it today? Because the way we approach the future is going to be very important. I know for many of us, our employers provide us with some coverage, but there are policies that we would prefer to buy personally. I buy my motor insurance here in the US. I'm based in Miami. I buy it online, but not everyone, or in every territory, you have the ability to do that. Okay, let's give it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's show the results of question number 4. Insurance agent, insurance company, you do it online, $39.9. You get it through financial institution, phone provider. So it seems that in that many of us there's the possibility of at least looking online for the product. Not sure that we all have the ability to close the transaction online, but I can tell. But still contacting the insurance company, but not sure if they do it through their website, or they do it over the phone, or go and visit their facilities. But it seems that online transactions are growing, and it will definitely grow more in the future. Next slide, please. So, which one is the best deal of the three that I had the opportunity to look at? I think that all of them give an interesting value proposition to the customer, especially when there's nothing in the market. I like the Paraguayan one because it has the means to reach all the population, and the population has the possibility of buying it online. The three of them were fast protection for COVID, installment plans. The Paraguayan one is probably ahead in terms of offering value-added services. I'm sure the other ones will follow very fast because the customers are requesting more and more added value services, especially the youngsters. In terms of pricing, we can see that probably the product in Peru is the cheapest one, but it's only the coverage for the hospital cash benefit, and there's no added value services that usually you have for them. We'll see how the take-up of customers go for them. Price is always a relation to the number of customers, but doesn't mean that customers don't have the ability to pay a bit more. I like the three. Everyone has its own benefits and pros and cons. Different approaches. Bolivia is a group policy only. Paraguay, you can buy it online. Peru, you go to your sponsor and visit the sponsor that offers the product. So different approaches, different results. Hope the three of them get to be very successful and help the income population and protect their families and their individuals. I think that's it for me.
Great, thank you so much, Erik. That was really.
Back to you, Lisa.
Hopefully I'm unmuted. That was really interesting. Thank you very much. So those were our three products that we looked at from Latin America. So now it's time to hear from Neto, who is going to be telling us about one of the two products that we looked at from Africa. So let me introduce Neto. So Dr. Ikpeme Neto is an internal medicine physician turned tech entrepreneur. He is the founder of Wellahealth, a microinsurance in Nigeria that is enabling new models of care to improve the affordability and accessibility of health insurance. So Neto, over to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Lisa. Just want to confirm you can hear me okay? Good stuff, okay. So thanks, it's been a great pleasure to learn about the different hospital cash products. And I thank Erik for that overview of the products in South America. So next slide, please. So before we get into the product I'm going to speak about in Africa, we're just going to do this poll quickly that asks, thinking what you know about hospital cash so far, what do you think would improve client value the most? So would that be integrating it with a range of other financial products, bundling it with other inclusive insurance, or focusing more on the wellness or preventative aspects? So give you some time to vote on that. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So if we can just show up the results. Okay, it seems that most people think that focusing more on the wellness and preventative aspects and providing more value-added services would be the way to go. So that is interesting to learn. I think that aligns a lot with what Erik had actually found in his own work on the Latin America side. Excellent. So next slide, please. So we looked at a particular hospital cash product in West Africa. And we'll go into the details going along the PACE analysis. So next slide. So first, looking at the product. This product provided hospitalization cover, of course. You needed a minimum of 3 nights of hospitalization. There weren't any exclusions. But when you signed on, there was a 3 months, or there is a 3 months waiting period. Regarding the options that were available, they were across 3 different plans. So you have the free plan, and I'll talk about the costs. But the free plan is interesting. This product is offered via a mobile network operator who have a mobile money wallet. And so that is the route or the channel that this product is offered via. And so for the free option, people were able to qualify for that option if they carried out 5 transactions that were larger than $9 a month. And so they would then qualify for it. Of course, the payout would be less compared to the more premium plans, but really, you didn't have to pay any specific premium yourself. Just having those transactions above that threshold meant you qualified for it. The cap on the payouts was for 30 nights per year. So you would get a payout every night. So in the free plan, it was $5.30 per night, whereas in the more premium plans, it was $18 per night. And then there was the added value of having life cover as well, so that if the person passed away, they'll get a payout. I'll review all the plans when I speak about the cost around the payout and the benefits, just so we can look at them together. Regarding how people access this plan, because it was done in conjunction, or it is done in conjunction with a mobile network operator, it was very well, or it is very well integrated into a USSD platform. So a lot of the sequence and sign up can be done via USSD. Also, there's a call center where people can reach out to actually get signed up on the product. There's no other additional documents to enroll, so super easy for people. And then a lot of the education is done via ads, via the call centers when you speak to the agents, and some via SMS as well. The advantage, of course, is you don't need to travel to get information about it. You didn't need any physical points of sales. A lot of it was done via mobile, and so that means that access is quite wide. And there was no policy documents really to be provided, which again is a great advantage. Regarding costs, so again, looking at the plans, I spoke about the free plan, where once you were over a threshold of 5 transactions that were over $9 a month, then you were able to get covered for this. The payout there was capped at just $5.30 a night, and the life benefit there is $62. Now for the more premium plans, is you can actually just sign up yourself for $1 a month, or for $5.90 for 6 months with a small discount there. The payout in this instance is $18 a night with a life benefit of $178. And then there was the option, of course, to add your family on top of that plan as well. So looking at what the cost compares to incomes, the premium is about 1.5% of minimum wage. Interestingly, in this market, to give some context, a minimum wage is about $65, but in a sense, really not particularly relevant, seeing that 60% of people are informal workers, and so the minimum wage may not necessarily apply to them. A lot of them would have very unusual or not regular cash flows around how they make their incomes, and again, 80% of people are self-employed. So that gives some context around how what the population is like. So interestingly as well, this product has been going on for about 3 years, and every year in that time the claims ratio has doubled, suggesting that people are getting more and more value from it, and experiencing it more and more over the last few years that the product has been out there. Coming into the experience, I think what is important is that the turnaround time is about 48 hours. People can file their claims very easily using WhatsApp. Again, going back to this, mobile and digital idea that it makes it very easy. And you provide your documents via WhatsApp or email, and then once that's verified, the claim is then paid out. And the goal is to turn that around within 48 hours. And so that gives a quick overview really of what this product in West Africa does so far. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'll hand it over back to Lisa. That's kind of the summary of the first product in West Africa. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Neto. So next up, we have Anne-Sophie, who will be telling us more about another product from Africa and also one product from South Asia. So let me tell you a bit about Anne-Sophie. Anne-Sophie is Regional Microinsurance Project Manager at Women's World Banking. Based in Kampala, she supports partner institutions to develop insurance solutions for women in East Africa. And prior to joining Women's World Banking, Anne-Sophie worked as a project manager for development and humanitarian affairs at the French Embassy in Kenya. So it's my great pleasure to hand over to you, Anne-Sophie.
Thank you, Lisa. So I will first talk about the second African product that we studied in North Africa, and then do a comparison with the hospital cash plan in West Africa that Neto just presented. Next slide, please. So talking about the product, so you can go to the next slide. Thank you. Talking about the product in North Africa, so this hospital cash plan was designed to cater the needs of low-income women in particular. Indeed, as you know, large majority of women in developing countries are working in the informal sector, and as a result, they often do not have access to any social security scheme. And so most of them never had any health insurance. So this product provides a daily benefit per night of hospitalization for any health condition, including maternity and childbirth-related admissions, which is making actually this product particularly meaningful for women. And life insurance is also attached to this product. So this product is bundled with loans. So it means that all new credit customers from the organization are automatically enrolled to the insurance scheme. Customers have to go to the branch of the organization to get their loan and their insurance coverage. So at the time of enrollment, the branch staff is explaining the insurance product to the customer using 3 simple and easy to understand key messages. So there is really a goal, to have some simple, very simple client education. So some mechanisms were also put in place to ensure that the awareness level of the product remains high. So awareness phone surveys are conducted regularly, and some measures are taken in case the awareness level is too low to reinforce the awareness level, such as new trainings for the branch staff. In terms of cost, what we can notice here is that the premium is paid in the branch in monthly installments together with the loan installments. Finally, about experience. So to file a claim, a customer needs to bring its hospital discharge form to the branch, and the turnaround time for claims payment is actually very low. 50% of the claims are paid on the spot. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. So this is a comparison table between the 2 products that we studied in Africa along the 4 dimensions of the base tool. So the one product in West Africa that Neto presented, and the one that I just presented in North Africa. Let us look at the major differences between the 2 products. You can go with the first animation. Thank you. So the first difference is in the target market. So we can see that, unlike the product in West Africa, the product in North Africa has actually a clear target on women. Next animation, please. So another thing that you can notice is that the waiting period for the product in West Africa is actually much longer. It's of 3 months than the one of the product in North Africa. And if we look at the bundling row, we can notice that the product in North Africa is bundled to loans, while the one in West Africa is a standalone product. So if we think about this, this could explain the difference also in the waiting period. Probably because the product in West Africa is a standalone product, so a voluntary product. It could face, some anti-selection if there was no waiting period. So this could explain the difference in the waiting period. You can go with, I think, the 2 next animations. Thank you. Another difference is that the insurance benefit starts after 3 nights of hospitalization for the product in West Africa, compared to 1 night for the product in North Africa. And my last point here, so you can go to the next animation, the next one. Thank you. So the last point here is that the product in West Africa seems to be more digital. So as you can see, the enrollment process is digital. Same for the premium payment, the claims filing, and the claims payment. So it's actually a more digital product compared to the product in North Africa. Next slide, please. So let me now move to the last region of our analysis, which is Asia. Before I start, you can go to the next slide. Thank you. So before I start, I would like to ask you a question. So among the different options that are written here, which value-added service do you think would be the most valuable for the low-income customers? I'll give you a few seconds to answer. And actually, if you're thinking about any other value-added service that would be meaningful for the low-income customers, you can also share this with us in the chat. Let's wait for a few seconds. Okay, I think you can show the results. Okay, so so we can see that the one value-added service that you think would be the most valuable for the customers. So 46% think that telemedicine and digital medical consultation would be very meaningful. We also have some education on preventative health, safety, or any health-related topics. Could be also a very, very valuable value-added service. So let's go to the next slide. So we saw that according to your answers, that telemedicine could be a very a service with a lot of value for the customers. And actually, this product that we studied in South Asia provides telemedicine as a value-added service. So this product is a hospital cash plan that provides daily cash benefit in case of illness related hospitalization. And it also provides traditional accident insurance. The enrollment, when we look at the enrollment for this product, so similarly to the product studied in West Africa, it is done through a call center, and the product is voluntary. Client education is done through various digital channels, such as social media, but also sending of SMS, and also, of course, through the call center. And the organization recently developed new measures to reinforce client education. They introduced some quality officers, and they are in charge, those quality officers are in charge of calling all customers to make sure that they are well aware of the key features of the product. In terms of premium, the premium is paid upfront, and it's paid through the customer digital wallets. Customers can choose between a 6 months and a yearly coverage, and the organization actually intends to propose a shorter coverage to allow customers who may not have enough on their digital wallet to pay their premium upfront. So the product has 2 different amounts of benefit depending on where the customer is hospitalized, which is I think similar to the product that Erik mentioned in Peru. So if the customer is hospitalized in intensive care unit, the insurance benefit is actually 2 times higher. When a customer is hospitalized, so as I mentioned earlier, he can consult a doctor by calling a hotline. And so once it's discharged, the customer can file a claim by first calling our hotline and then sending the documents, so the discharge form and a copy of the national ID via WhatsApp. The turnaround time for claims payment is of 24 hours after the documents are submitted, and then the customer receives his benefits on his digital wallet. Can go to the next slide. Let me talk briefly about the comparison with other hospital cash plan. So as for now, we did only one case study in Asia. So I will compare the one I just talked about in South Asia with the two other hospital cash plans that we studied in Africa. So what we can see here, so first, while the two products in Africa were covering for any health condition, this product actually covers for illness and for accident. Also, another thing that we can notice is that there are more outpatient value-added services, such as telemedicine, in these products compared to the other hospital cash plans, in Africa. If I jump to the cost, we can see that unlike the products in Africa, the premium in the South Asian product is paid upfront. And overall, I would say that, this product in South Asia is probably more similar to the one in West Africa than to the one in North Africa, mostly because all the processes are digital. So to conclude, I would say that we have three very different products, but we can still see some similarities. First of all, the three products have all very quite simple and easy to understand processes, and they do not require to bring a lot of documentations, neither at the time of enrollment or at the times of claims filing. We also noticed, so when we did the interviews with myself and the other members of the Africa and Asia work teams, that the three organizations have a common priority to build trust of the customers, and that one of the tools that they are using a lot is actually to have a very quick turnaround time for claims payment. As you can see, the turnaround time is actually fairly quick, 48 hours, 24 hours, and the fact that 50% are paid on the spot. So this is really one common priority for all those three organizations. Back to you, Lisa.
Great, thank you very much, Anne-Sophie, and thank you everyone for your questions that keep coming in the Q&A. So do keep sending those. So this is the final slide of our presentation before we can go into a Q&A. So, as mentioned at the beginning, we selected 6 hospital cash products for this presentation, and Erik compared 3 from Latin America, while Neto and Anne-Sophie compared 2 from Africa and 1 from South Asia. And this final slide brings some of the overall observations to you using the same PACE framework, but looking at all 6 products together and pulling out some of the highlights. Now, obviously, some of these things, as I said in the beginning, there may be a trade-off. If you have more benefits, then it's going to be a bit more expensive. So, it might be not possible to bring all of these good things all together all at the same time. However, here were some of the things that we noticed that we thought were particularly interesting and worth noting. So under the product, there were some clear aspects that added value. First, there was the ability to react and adapt to the COVID-19 pandemic. So you might recall that Erik was describing in particular how the Latin America products dropped the exclusion for COVID-19, and they also shortened the waiting period if clients were hospitalized for COVID-19. So I think having that reactivity was particularly nice and added value for clients. In North Africa, the product was particularly focused on women, and having maternity as part of the coverage is something that I'm sure the clients would value. We also observed some very useful value-added services for some of the products, like telemedicine, nutritional advice, psychological advice, discounts, digital consultations, and cashback options. And we also saw that some of the products were bundled with life and accident insurance. So all of these things, we thought were nice and added some kind of value over and above the sort of generic standard hospital cash plan. Under access, some of the good things that we noted included the online products. Making it very accessible, especially for those who have smartphones and can access the products that way. And one of the products that Erik described, there was a lot of advertising on TV that helped illustrate how the product worked, which in that instance really reached the target market that, that they were aiming to reach. Again, M&O distribution featured, so while this is now not something new, it was also good to see that this product is being distributed by M&O operators. And obviously this helps from an efficiency point of view. In one case, we noted that customers' digital wallets were being used in the process, showing integration with wider digital financial services. In many cases, we saw that the need for additional documentations to enroll were either not needed or not particularly onerous. So, keeping things simple obviously reduces the barriers to access and will help clients. Again, along the lines of the digital features that we noticed, this also means that clients don't have to frequently travel to points of service, and this helps. One thing that I particularly liked is for the mandatory product that we looked at, there were actual awareness phone surveys to call up clients to check that they really understood that they had the cover that they had. And I think in some instances with mandatory products, as has been described by some of the other speakers this week, when you have mandatory products, the claims ratios tend to be quite low, which indicates that people don't always know that they have the cover that they have. So I think having an awareness campaign is something that's really great, just to make sure that people actually do know what they have in terms of coverage. Under the cost, one of the products mentioned that they were witnessing increasing claims ratios. So this is obviously, it's good as long as the product still, the loss ratios don't go too high and the product is still sustainable, but higher loss ratios are definitely something that we want to see because we want clients to be using their hospital cash benefits. Most products that we looked at were affordable by the measures that we used. I guess I have a question as to, whether some of them are too cheap and whether the benefits that they offer are valuable in terms of the quantum of the benefit. But that's a question that I need to answer as we go through this PACE analysis. So in particular, I think when it came to the affordability, having benefit options was also, it would make it more affordable for some people. So having a bit of a range of what premiums you can pay and what benefits you would get, that increases the scope for the population being targeted. So lastly, the E of PACE, under experience, these are the features that we deemed would increase the client value, and digitization again was definitely something that we felt helped the user in their end-to-end experience with the hospital cash, especially this, being able to enroll digitally, but also using WhatsApp for claims admissions. That is quite a straightforward way of sending through documentation. Also, with the experience around COVID, there were lots of messages going around with good information, and I think if hospital cash insurers can not only be relied on for the hospital cash benefits, but can also become distributors of trustworthy advice. I think that is an area that could really add a lot of value, given that there is a lot of misinformation going around these days. So at the end of the day, you know, I think when it comes to the actual payment of the benefit, clients want quick turnaround times. And this is what we made note of in our selected products. There were some very impressive turnaround times. So in North Africa, the product, 50% of the claims were paid on the spot. So that is pretty impressive, like no waiting turnaround time at all. And 80% of all claims were paid within 4 days. On the other products, we saw 2 days, 5 days. But you know, this, I think, if you were needing that finance, that cash flow quickly, having that short turnaround time, I think would certainly, if I was a consumer of this product, I would be extremely happy with such a short turnaround time. So that is all we have for you right now in terms of the study and the information that we've put together for this presentation. As I said at the beginning, the study continues, and watch this space as we synthesize more of the answers and put it into the spider diagram, the PACE. And the idea is that we will over time publish something with the Microinsurance Network, a short case brief describing some of the best practices that we see. So now it's time for questions, and I see that you have, during the course of this session, you've been asking lots of questions, so we've been trying to answer them along the way. But now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at the unanswered questions, and I'm going to give them to the people who I think should be answering them. So Anne-Sophie, this question came up while you were giving the presentation on North Africa, and the question is, do any of these products cover dependents, especially children being hospitalized? And this is particular for the North African product targeting women. So Anne-Sophie, would you like to answer that?
So yes, the short answer is yes. So the product was initially developed and offering only an individual cover, but now so this North African product is actually providing some coverage for the family as well, which is actually making it particularly meaningful for women, as they have one of their top priorities is their health and one of their children as well. So yeah, the short answer is yes.
Great, thank you. And so, yeah, the next two questions are also for you. So did the African Asia products evolve or change, I guess, with COVID? And the next question, could you tell us about the nature of loans that are attached to the North Africa product? This person who answered this question says it does not seem to be economically viable. So, yeah, have a think, and what's your response to those?
Sure. So the first question about COVID and how did the African and Asia products evolve with COVID? So the organizations that are providing those products actually made some changes in the product and also offer new products during COVID. So the one in North Africa, one example that I can give is that they allowed some premium payment digitally, premium to be paid digitally, compared to the original product that I shared with you, where the customer had to go to the branch. Then for the product in South Asia, they actually offered a new product, which is not a hospital cash product, but they offered a new product to the customers, a specific COVID cover, both for diagnosis and treatment, and also for this. Yes, they actually offered new products. And what I could say here also is that at Women's Health Banking, we are doing a COVID study at the moment. So we are trying to study the impact of COVID on some microinsurance schemes. And one of these microinsurance schemes is actually the one in North Africa. So hopefully, at the end of the study, we'll be able to share some recommendations to the team the organization working in North Africa about how to adapt their product to COVID. Yeah, so I hope I answered to this question. And then about the question on the nature of the loans for the North Africa products. I believe that so this product is actually bundled to all loans of the organization, the financial service provider who is offering this product in North Africa. All loans are actually bundled with this product. I believe most of them are actually some business loans, but yes, all loans offered by the organization are bundled to this product. And about your concern on economic viability, I know that this product first was, the pricing of the product was done by an actuary, of course, and then there was a pilot period to make sure that the product is actually meaningful for the customers, but that it is also economically viable first for the distribution partner and for the insurance company, and it actually proved to be viable. And the product was launched, I think, in 2016, and yes, it has made proof that it was actually economically.
It has been going for some time.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Anne-Sophie. So the next question from Peter Gross. Hi, Peter. Peter says, many insurers were worried about hospital cash 5+ years back based on high loss ratios in markets like South Africa and India. These microinsurance products have even fewer exclusions and higher risk populations. Question, what do you feel contributes to the underwriting sustainability of these products as compared to traditional experience, the traditional experience of insurers? So I'm curious to hear what our other speakers might think of this question. My initial reaction is, when you have mandatory products, then like the one product that we've described in North Africa is a mandatory product. So when you have mandatory products, then you remove the need for such rigorous underwriting, of any underwriting at all, because you're capturing both the healthy and the sick people in that particular population. So that kind of, it helps, it also helps with the problem of anti-selection. So I think you can take the leap of having fewer exclusions. With other types, it also depends on the distribution. If you have a mobile network operator who's distributing to hundreds and thousands, if not more people, then it's also a numbers game. If you can get the volumes of people and you can assure that at least the bulk of them is not, they're not anti-selecting against the insurer, then I think you can be a bit more lenient. But of course, the actuary in me likes the idea of underwriting, but I think for these particular products in certain circumstances, I think it's okay to relax things a little. So Erik, Neto, and Sophie, would you like to add anything to that question? Maybe you see something interesting in Latin America. Erik?
What I can tell you is probably the access we have to data and the use of technology nowadays. Writers, when making their analysis, and the actuaries making their analysis. In the past, there was no so much technology and so much data available. I see more and more data available. The regulators are requesting data from the participants in the industry, so that supports the decision-making process of underwriters in traditional insurance or inclusive insurance. And when there's not data available for a specific country, what I've seen done is actuaries and underwriters start making comparison analysis to similar territories or similar populations in order to try to make the product work in terms of figures. And sometimes also there are internal subsidies. I mean, probably you're going to charge a specific segment a higher rate in order to support the development of a product in a low-income population, because you know, if you want to reach the low-income population, you need to offer a better price, and you can probably charge more to a higher income population in order to make the product as such sustainable for the company, even though they may have internally different cost centers for final analysis, if that makes any sense.
Great, thank you, Erik. So let's actually move on to the next question. So Anne-Sophie, again, because you were the last speaker, unfortunately these last few questions are mostly for you because we were answering the others as we were going. So are the HospiCash, the hospital cash product in North Africa, is it distributed through an MFI? And do you have any ideas about the loss ratio? I mean, if we don't have this information, it's fine too.
Yeah, so to the first question on whether the hospital cash is distributed through MFI in North Africa, so the answer is yes. Yeah, so it is distributed through MFI. Yeah, and on the loss ratio, I don't think I have this information that I can share with you right now. But of course, you know, we are in the report that we are going to share on the case study. We will be able to make the comparison between the different hospital cash plans.
Great, thank you. And Catherine has asked us, for the new COVID-19 products, how responsive were regulators to license them quickly? And was this a constraint? So Erik, I'm going to ask you, because your products, we spoke a bit about the COVID cover and the changes that were made to those products. So do you know what the response of the regulators was to, did they have any input in that process?
What I can tell you is, in the case of Peru was formally asking in writing the insurance companies to delete any pandemic exclusions from their policies. So that came from the regulator. It may have had an impact in the pricing, but this was a request from the regulator. In the case of Paraguay and Bolivia, I am not aware of any problems with the regulator. I know in the case of Paraguay, it was managed through the product to find a way to offer the coverage, and it was never raised, they never raised an issue from having a conversation with the regulator. And in Peru, the product in Peru always, the product in Bolivia, they were pushing for it from the reinsurer to have COVID covered, and I guess they managed the later as part of their negotiations with them. I don't have any other specific information in that regards.
Okay.
But there was never a friction or something. It was a very easy process, as per my understanding.
Great. So the next question is also for Erik, but maybe Neto, I don't know if you can also comment on this, or maybe even Anne-Sophie. Does the availability of mobile payment in a specific market make it easier to market the hospital cash? So do you have any thoughts based on the products? This might not have been something that you were able to assess from the information that we had, but it would be good to know if you could comment on the marketability, if it's being if we're using a mobile payment mechanism. Did you see anything?
Yeah, happy to comment on it. So in the instance that I looked at in West Africa, I think it helped a great deal, because if you think about, the first tier of the product was a free product that was based on if you were making transactions using that mobile money wallet. And so, very quickly people were able to, immediately just know that this product existed, right? Because they could, qualify for this free product. So I think it definitely made it a lot easier when, you know, introducing a new product such as this, you know, to this kind of a market, that they had that, you know, ability to use mobile money to make payments and to qualify, as opposed to, you know, not having that route at all, and then having to, you know, build trust and then start to educate people, you know, outside of that network and ecosystem of mobile money payments. So I think it makes a huge difference.
Thank you, Neto. And Erik, do you have anything to add?
In the three countries, the level of formal bancarization and financial inclusion is low. So giving the public, given the customer segment, the target, the ability to use mobile phone to pay the products, make their lives easier, because they were actually, for example, the case of Paraguay, we know as a fact that 95% of the people were looking at the product via the mobile phone. So we know they prefer a way of access to the product as mobile phone. So paying the policy, the premium using the mobile phone is the best way to handle it. Mobile payments in Peru have an interesting penetration, and I guess that's going to be the next step for the Bolivians as well.
Great, thank you, Erik. So we have one last question, and then I think we'll end the session. So this question is for Anne-Sophie about the North African product. The question is it exclusively for women or directed through the marketing for female consumers? And I think the answer, correct me if I'm wrong, most of the customers are women, but it's not exclusively for women. Is that right?
Yes, yes, that's right. So it's not exclusively for women. So yes, men customers from the MFI also can have the benefit, but majority of the customers are women. And also, as I said before, the product, you know, was designed to be particularly meaningful for women. And at all steps of the process and the research, there was actually a strong focus on women.
Great, thank you very much. So thank you everyone for listening, and thank you to our wonderful speakers for your time today. That brings us to the end of the session. So I'm going to hand you back to Dirk, and he's going to say a few words to close this session.
Well, thank you, Lisa. Thank you very much for an interesting session, and also for highlighting how important it is to look at the client value. I would like to invite everyone to tomorrow's sessions, which is the last day of this year's conference. We will have an exciting session on technology driving insurance. One session discussing the ups and downs of inclusive insurance with extremely interesting experience from around the world, and then certainly the closing and outlook session, which I have the pleasure to facilitate. We have high-level representatives from the IDF, from the Association of Insurers and Reinsurers in Developing Countries, UNDP, and certainly the Microinsurance Network. And that session will look into the future, crystal ball time, and discuss the challenges coming up also in light of COVID-19. So thank you very much. Have a good evening, good afternoon, good night, and set the alarm for tomorrow's session. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.